Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to our Q&A with Shaykh Akram Nadwi, hosted by Al-Salam Institute. Apologies for the slight 5-minute, 6-minute delay. We just had a few technical issues, but alhamdulillah, everything seems to be fine now. I hope everyone's had a good week, inshallah, and if anyone's on their summer break, has had a good summer break. Anyone who's new here, we have this Q&A. We try to hold this Q&A every Thursday to make Sheikh Akram accessible to those who maybe just have some questions, fiqhi questions that need answering. And this Q&A will be 30 minutes, so from 6 to 6:30 UK time. We'll try and go maybe, if Sheikh's time allows, maybe 5 minutes over, but we'll see, inshallah. So without any further ado, let's start with our first question. We have a question from Sister Farihan. She's asking, Sheikh, is it bad to think about myself that I'm pious or even close to it? Or should I always think that I'm a sinner?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وعلى آله وصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. So, this question actually is very important, and I'd like to explain it in a more detail. It is very important, this religion, that people are humble. They are not proud, they are not arrogant, they don't show off. It is very important, as it is important also that people must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever He has given us. We should thank Him all the time. And the best thing that we need to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever He helps us and makes it easier for us to worship Him and to obey Him. So like, for example, when you pray, fast, pay zakat, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah, you have allowed us or enabled us to do this, otherwise we never could have done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase your reward and give you more tawfiq to do more deeds. So always keep thinking, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can we think that we are better than other? That actually is a problem. Reason is because we don't know the others. It could be possible that somebody who you think they're inferior than you, but they are doing something in hiding that you don't know. Maybe their heart is more pure than your heart. Maybe they have done some good things. Maybe they themselves don't know. So we never know. Or maybe we have done something which is bad. We can't compare ourselves to anybody. So never make this mistake that I am better than anybody, superior to anybody, because that we never have. It's not true, because we don't have knowledge. We don't have knowledge really about other people. Even we don't have knowledge about ourselves. Only thing that we can do is thank Allah. When we do good things, thank Allah. He will allow us to do more and more. And that Quran has said, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. People should be happy when they have Allah's mercy upon them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables us to do good deeds, they should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They should be happy. To feeling happiness in the heart, there's no problem for that, as long as it makes you to thank. But if it makes you to think other people are inferior to you, they are lower than you, then it is problem, because we don't have any knowledge and any certainty that we are better than other people. So this balance is very important. Don't think that you are better than other people and other people are inferior to you. But whenever you have good deed, thank Allah. Don't refer the good deeds to your own action, to your own power. It always refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, inshallah. Let's move on to another question. But just before we go to the next question, for anyone who is new here, if you do have a question, just comment it in the comment section of wherever you're watching. So we should be live on Facebook and YouTube, because we do sometimes receive questions afterwards. Okay, we'll take a question from Abdul Ahad. I have a feeling maybe this question has been slightly answered before, but we'll take it, inshallah. He's asking, what is the difference between the fitra, the nafs, the ruh, and the heart, and their relation with the other organs like the brain, eyes, and the ears? And finally, how do external factors like culture and waswas influence them? It's a very big question.
Yeah, these things we have discussed many times. The main thing is fitra actually is something. Fitra is like when you buy a computer, you have a built-in memory, something already there, on basis of which you do other things. So similarly, when Allah SWT created us, He put something in our nature, like He puts things in the nature, the plants, animals. So they behave like that. They know their mothers. They know, whatever they do because of that. Like plants, how much water they need. It's all their fitra. So similarly, we need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to love our mothers, people who are kind to us, we love them, we have loyalty to them. These things are part of the fitra. So that's the fitra. Maybe the part of the fitra actually is in the heart. And nafs is, people's self, where the good and bad both are there. So nafs can be improved, then people do good deeds more. Nafs can be bad, the people do bad. The nafs basically is from where, people's action come, desires are there, all those things. Ruh is just soul, because the body without soul is nothing. To your soul, we don't know what soul is, but that is the ruh is the soul, and mind is the reason that Allah has put in the mind. So these are the things that the command comes from the heart. Command comes from the heart, and a reason explains to the heart good and bad, and the command comes to the heart, and the heart has got fitra. So heart actually knows whether the mind is right or wrong. It can actually, if it's, can use the mind and understand it properly. Then after that, depends how the command is carried out by nafs. Nafs sometimes is a desire, so it doesn't want to do things properly. So that's why the Quran says sometimes inna nafs la ammaratu bisu. Nafs, commands evil a lot, but sometimes nafs can be good, command a good thing. Sometimes nafs, so nafs keeps changing. It depends how much you worship Allah, how you improve yourself. But truth of the matter really is you don't need to know all the details of these things. People don't need to know all these details. You just need to understand the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow it. How it works in the body, it's very difficult really for the people to explain. That's why the Quran did not make it very clear, and the Prophet ﷺ did not emphasize that. Still, they have been the most pious people. So for your purpose to be pious, you don't need to know the details of the functions of these things separately.
Okay, let's move on to another question. I don't know how many of you guys are joining from Facebook, but we don't have many questions from Facebook, so I'll keep going from YouTube, inshallah. Let's see. Okay, this is an interesting scenario. Someone said, my father had magic done on me from a very young age. I'm nearly 30, and this has affected me nearly all my life. He was cruel, evil, and unjust to me. Is it not justice that I can cut him off?
I don't really think that anybody has any proof to prove that somebody had done magic against you. How can you know really? And magics don't work for whole life. Magic are very temporary. If people can do magic for whole life, then people don't need to make all atomic bomb and nuclear weapons and all those things. Just they learn magic, and they do magic against each other, against the prime minister, against this country, their country, and make them mad and control their life. So the people don't need anything. So truth of the matter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never put any power in magic. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that la yuflihu sahiru, the people who do magic, they never succeed. They never can succeed. Never success happen. So your father could have been an evil person, could have done something wrong to you, and that affected you psychologically and mentally, and that you have to improve yourself and think and read the Quran and understand Allah's favor. Allah is more powerful than your father, and Allah has more mercy upon you than your father. So come and get closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but get rid of this idea that somebody has done magic upon you. It could be something else really, you don't know. But cure is very easy. Cure is that you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran says, "Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas." Whenever you have all these evils, come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take his refuge, obey him, worship him, and be away from the sins. Allah will protect you. The good deeds, prayers, these are best help for the people to be cured from all the evil things. And also reading the Quran, very important. And think, use your mind properly.
Okay, let's take a question from. Let's have a look. Okay. The next question is: can we read or recite Surah Maryam, Surah Yusuf, and Surah Luqman to get a good child? And how can we properly practice this?
Quran has come, for a big purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed the Quran to people who can get the guidance. And Quran gives people, paradise. Quran has not come that, you read the Quran to get a bread and, wife or children and house and things like that. These people can get without the Quran. Allah has guaranteed He will give. This will come. You don't need a Quran for that. You don't need a prophet or messenger for that. People used to have, children before the Quran. People, those who aren't believers, they get good children. There are many, many of them. Then they become Muslim, they convert to Islam. Umar Khattab was raised by unbelieving people. He was not raised by the Quran. Abu Bakr Siddiq did not have a Quran when he was a child. So you understand, really, you don't need all these surahs to read in order to, what you need really is your children to learn these surahs, to understand them and to follow them. That, to become good believer, that you need a Quran. For guidance and to become a good believer, you need a Quran. But generally, good things people don't need really. Without Quran, they can be fine. So I don't think really why you people have just to use Quran for a magical, change. Quran has not come for this purpose, that to make a magical effect on the people. Had it been the case, then all the Muslims would have good children. But no, some people have good children, some people don't have. Some unbelievers have better children than us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives as He likes. But with the Quran, what you can do is can get paradise, guidance and paradise. So have Quran for the purpose that Allah has revealed. Like, I always remind Tabligh Jamaat, people say, cow is bought to get milk. So you buy a cow, you get milk. But when you get milk, you also get dung from the cow. But nobody buys the cow to get the dung. Dung comes by itself. So, we read the Quran to get paradise, guidance. Dunya will come. Money and all those things, they will come by itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them. They will come. But the real reason for Quran is giving you paradise, eternal life, that nobody can give. No system, no ideas, no thoughts can give you paradise other than the Quran. The Quran is the book of guidance, book of paradise.
Okay, Junaid is asking, I know science. Oh, sorry, no, he asked the question earlier. I wanted to ask. What is your opinion on when the Quran talks about the sun's orbit, implying that it rotates around the earth, which would be scientifically inaccurate?
The thing is, Quran is not a book of science. First, you understand it. Quran is for guidance, and Quran is reminding the people, the favors of Allah and the powers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Quran explains to the people the things as they are, even it will be shocking for the scientist. What if Quran would have said all the realities as they are? Who do you believe in those days? And even scientists now they don't know all the realities. Many, many things they will know in the future. So then nobody can get guidance from the Quran. People think, oh, this book does not actually mean anything because it says something which is not true. Quran talks in human language. Quran will say, sun sets, sun rises. But scientifically, you can say sun never sets, never rises. It's all the time there. But in every human language, even scientists, don't they say sun rises, sun sets? All the scientists say the same thing. When the scientists make poetry, they also make poetry about the sun rising, sun setting, moon rising, day coming, night coming. All these things, they also keep saying same thing. Though scientifically, they are not as people say. The Quran has come in human language. Quran does not lie. But Quran actually explains that things, as understood by the people properly. But, science cannot say it is not true. But science certainly can say it is not scientific book. That's true. Quran is not a book of science. Quran will not explain about the planets and all those things the way you learn in the science. So I don't understand why people want to change the subject of the Quran. Quran has come to make people better human being, guided person, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, submitting to Him, surrendering to Him, being pious, improve their condition, praying, fasting, believing the day of judgment, loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fearing Him. This is the book of these things. To focus on that, take from the Quran what Quran wants to give you. Don't take from the Quran what you want to take. Quran has not come to fulfill your desire. Quran has come to give you what Allah thinks is more important for you.
Okay, let's take a question from Fahim, who's asking, is it permissible to name a child the English version of the Prophet's names? For example, Jacob as opposed to Yaqub, or Noah as opposed to Noor?
Yeah, there's no harm to name people in any language, but the only problem is, identity. Because in the society, when people say Jacob or Joseph or something like that, the many people think that this person is a Christian or non-Muslim. Because Muslims use the word Yusuf, Yaqub. So, we want in the society to be known to be Muslim. If our name does not tell us we are Muslim, it's very difficult for the people to know. So I will not advise that. But I don't think people get sin by that. But certainly it is not advisable because people should, make their culture in a way it looks more Islamic. Everybody knows who you are. That's why the purpose of the name is that people know you, who you are. Just in simple name which does not tell anything, nobody likes. So people want a name which can tell them, like you can see Hindus, they use their name, so people know this person is Hindu. Chinese have their name, so people know this person is Chinese. But some people don't say this thing. People are confused whether they're Chinese or Indian and this and that. The Muslims always have been having, names which are names of the prophets in Arabic language, or other good names in Arabic language. It has sometimes in Persian language, but which is known to be Islamic names. That I advise you that follow Islamic way of naming, and that actually to make it more Arabic.
Okay, inshallah. Let's try and take a question from Facebook. I've seen. Okay. Sister Tapashi, she's asking, can Muslims attend Hindu marriage ceremonies?
These days you have got people who are related to each other and they have different religions. Sometimes in workplace, you have friendship and they are your colleagues, they are from your different religion. So certainly in social matters, you have to celebrate and participate in people's happiness. Somebody dies, you have to make your condolence to the person, to your colleague or to your relative. So similarly, if they are marrying, so you need to, if you are invited, you can give the gift and wish good luck to them, in good language. So that I say certainly people should do really, especially those who are relative and colleagues. But in all these ceremonies, sometimes they do things which are shirk, means they are not allowed in Islam. So in that case, it is better for you to be away, to keep yourself away from those things. They should know really that you are Muslim. You don't, like for example, the Hindu marriage, they will go to temple and all those things. You don't need to be there. But when they have celebration, food and feast, you can be part of that. You can eat food with them. You can congratulate them. You can give the gift to them. That you can do. Similarly, when nikah is happening in a Muslim ceremony, your non-Muslim friends don't need to be there. You can do your ceremony, your rituals as you want, and then when the food is served, people can come and congratulate, and then they give the gifts and they express their happiness. So that can do it. Basically, nikah and all those things, they have two aspects. One is religious, that you have to be very careful. One is social. In that one, anybody can actually participate as long as it does not harm your religion.
So sorry, Sheikh, just to be clear then, so if someone was attending a Hindu marriage ceremony or maybe a Christian one in the church, where of course clear-cut shirk is taking place, would this kind of be impermissible and count as them participating in it?
I'll say, people, it is disliked really. But I will not say it becomes shirk and kufr, because shirk and kufr happens when you have a belief in the heart. You don't believe in those things, so it does not make you mushrik or kafir. But certainly it could be sometimes sinful because you're encouraging them, supporting, this thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows is lie. And also, people should know really that, you don't believe in these things. So if you're away from there, they know. So you support them where it is needed. They will appreciate that. If you bring gift, attend that, they will appreciate that you have done what is best from you. But certainly they should not expect you to be attending the ceremony in the temple or in the, in the church. You don't expect them to be in the mosque. So I think, we have to be, friendly with each other as much as possible. But at the same time, we should not change the religion. So, Hindu religion will remain Hindu religion, and Buddhism will remain Buddhism, and Christianity will be Christianity, and Islam will be Islam. We have to invite people, explain to the people our religion, but we should not behave as it doesn't matter, because it matters. It's very important, really. In the Quran, it matters. Everywhere it matters. So, difference of the religion is very, very important. And, one is guidance, and one is not, and others are not guidance. That must be very clear in our mind. So we should not, compromise on this issue, because one is true religion and others are false. That must be deep in our mind.
And Sheikh, just to go off on a little tangent, but the principles are very similar. With a lot of young Muslims that are maybe working in the West, there's often times when they're maybe working in the office, and there's obviously a social part of your work life, where a lot of their colleagues will be going to pubs and having after work drinks, and so a lot of the time this is actually very linked to their work and networking. Sometimes young Muslims do feel very pressured, and they think, maybe I can be there but I won't drink, and that's okay, because they're not drinking alcohol, and they're being around it. But what would you say to these people in this position?
Yeah, no, it is a very difficult position, really. But, when you have Islam, you have to have some suffering. You have to make some sacrifices. Certainly, you miss many things because of you are Muslim. Because if you attend these places and you go to the pubs, and even if you don't drink really, one day the evil of drinking will not be in your mind. It becomes easier to accept these things, and you can't teach anybody. Islam does not want that. To being a Muslim is a big thing, and sometimes you have suffered. Sometimes you have to basically pay something, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows really that because of you are Muslim, you have difficulty in the life and a problem in the life. That problem, Muslims should be ready. It is not really right that you think I am Muslim, then I don't need to make any sacrifice for the sake of Allah. I don't want to sacrifice anything. I want to be like another Muslims in the jobs, in every single thing. I take all the advantage that they take. My Islam does not make us, to be any different from them. But then it is not a religion, because religion really is that you make very clear that now inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. My worships, my sacrifices, my life and my death, they are for Allah, the Lord of all the people. So that must be very clear to the matter. It does not mean that we are going to harm anybody and hurt anybody. But at the same time, if any harm comes to us because we are Muslims, we should be ready to accept that. Yeah, sometimes you lose it. Sometimes maybe you don't get the chances in your company or your workplace as other people get. It could happen. For the sake of Allah, to be ready for that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will compensate you somewhere else. But Muslims must be ready for sacrifices.
Okay, inshallah. I think, Sheikh, we'll try and take one more question, and then we will call it a day, inshallah. Zay is asking, is it our responsibility in Islam to obey everything that our parents tell us to do, or are there matters one must exercise their own judgment on?
No, it is not really. I don't know where people are getting this idea that they must obey their parent all the time. And Hadith says that Quran is very clear, but even Hadith, the Prophet said, La ta'ata li makhluqin fi ma'asir khaliq. You can't obey people when it means disobey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your parents have limits. They can't impose everything upon you. Even the prophets and messengers have limits. The Prophet ﷺ does not have unlimited power over his followers. No. Once a slave girl, Barira, radiallahu ta'ala anha, she is a very good believer. She is a learned girl. She was a slave, and her husband also was a slave, Mughith. And When a woman is married to a slave husband, and then she becomes free, so she has the right to keep the husband or to leave him, because that husband was imposed upon her without her will. Now she is free. She can make her judgment up to her to keep or get separation and marry someone else. Barira got free because Aisha Radhiyallahu freed her. So when she became free, now she wanted to marry someone else and leave Mughith. Mughith was in full love of Barira. So he used to cry and run after her in the streets of Medina, begging her that keep me in your marriage. So the Prophet ﷺ felt, his heart was, so kind. So he asked Barira, don't you see how much Mughith loves you? So why don't you keep him? Barira said, is it your command or it is just your advice? The Prophet said, no, it is not my command, it's just my advice. So Barira said, no, then I'm not going to accept him. And she left him. And the Prophet did not mind, and she's a good believing woman. So even the prophets have no power to impose their will on the people all the time. They in the religious matters, yes, but not all the matters. The same parents, like, a woman came to a house of Aisha Radhiyallahu anha, and she said, my father has forced me to marry to someone who I don't like. The Prophet ﷺ said, the fathers have no right. Your marriage cancelled. So you see, no right. You don't have actually, your parent cannot interfere in your life all the time. But certainly things if they're not interference and things that are not disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yeah, you should listen to them and obey them. If they ask you some money, some help, something, or to be kind to your brothers and sisters, something good they advise you, certainly you must listen to them. But if they ask you something which is not good, then don't listen to them, but still be nice and kind to them. You can't reject them, you can't be angry with them, you can't upset. You have to still behave nicely. So that's very, very important. So it could be possible that your father wants you to marry somewhere, you don't agree, and you marry where you want. That's fine. You can marry where you like, but still be nice to your father, helping him and giving gift until he forgets this thing. So simple matter is that parents don't have absolute right over their children, and the children don't have actually full obedience to complete obedience to their parents, but they have to be nice to them. They have choice, and they have to follow their choice, but they have to be nice to their parent as much as possible.
Okay, I think we will end it there, inshallah, and continue hopefully when our next Q&A is held. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh, for your time, and inshallah we'll see you hopefully soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. And likewise to everyone else, Jazakumullah khairan everyone for joining us. I know we did start a little bit late, but alhamdulillah, everything got sorted. Just for everyone, just to give you some advance notice, we won't be having a Q&A next week because Shaykh Akram will be he will be abroad. I think he'll be traveling next week, inshallah. So hopefully we'll be continuing the week afterwards. But please do just follow our Facebook and YouTube for updates, and we'll let you know when the next Q&A is held. But yes, inshallah, I think we'll end it there. And just a quick announcement, I did mention last week Shaykh Akram does have some short courses with Al-Salam Institute that will be starting soon. Hopefully we'll be launching our first short course with Shaykh Akram this year, and it will be launched tomorrow, inshallah, and this will be on Bukhari and Tirmidhi. It's an ongoing short course that always continues every year. So inshallah, if anyone's interested, maybe they can't commit to a full Alamiya course with Al-Salam Institute, you're more than welcome to check out all of the short courses that Shaykh Akram holds. I'll put on the screen, inshallah, some of the things that we do. We hold Islamic scholarship programs at Al-Salam Institute. Our first term will be starting very, very soon. So anyone who is interested, Shaykh Akram is a co-founder and principal of Al-Salam Institute. We started in 2006. Alhamdulillah, we've been running for a long time. We're completely online and we have students all over the world. So anyone who does want to study Islam, who wants to study Arabic, can't commit to a full-time Alamiya program, they do have a full-time job. Maybe your mother, maybe you're a student still, but you still want to pursue your studies. Al-Salam Institute is the place to be, inshallah. Please do head on to our website. It's alsalam.at.uk. You can begin your journey in classical Arabic and Islamic sciences with us soon, inshallah. And again, if you cannot commit to anything, you're more than welcome to just join our Q&A, usually every Thursday, 6 p.m. BSC, inshallah. And hopefully we will see you soon, inshallah, in 2 weeks. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.